another 90-day lockdown. Doesn't until early title. Recently I did an internship with the Canberra Times, and for those of you who don't know, the Canberra Times is a publication published in Canberra, obviously. It's a state newspaper which is distributed all across the city. I got this internship as a result of applying. I went to that internship coordinator who said, "We've got this opportunity available for you," and I said I'd love to do it, and I applied and I got the job or the position. It was unpaid and I got to do it for 5 days, and it was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had as a journalist so far, because it's in a newspaper which I've always wanted to work in, and I got to work with new journalists who taught me a lot about the tricks of the trade and what we do on a daily basis to get the news out in the 24-hour news cycle. Now that I've completed this internship, I wanted to document some of the things I've learned and then to share some things with you to help you with other internships that you might be doing this year, whether you're doing a journalism course or another unit course of any kind. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing I learned, always be prepared. Now I think this is pretty self-explanatory, but I made a few mistakes during this internship. First of all, in that before I did prepare, I had a list of story ideas, which you should always have when you're doing a journalism internship, 5 to 10 story ideas, ready for you to be able to pitch to your editor, so that they can see that you're prepared to take initiative and do your own story. I had researched the publication that I was working at, so the Canberra Times. I basically put together a total list of notes, of relevant information that I would need going into my internship on the first day. When we got to that first editorial meeting, which we did every morning, I pretty much sat there. They told me what I was required to do. So in my head I thought, I totally don't want to pitch stories in this internship. I neglected to prepare stories later on in the week. And so we got halfway through the week, and I was busy working on the stories that my editors had asked me to do. And in between that, I was kind of waiting around for phone calls and people to get back to me. And when I had nothing else to do, I went back to my editor and I said, "Hey, is there anything else I can do?" And he said to me, "Well, do you have any story ideas you can pitch?" And I didn't. I tried to pitch some of the story ideas that I had prepared on the first day, but as it turns out, most of them were either already done or were no longer relevant. And so I found myself a little bit lost for something to do in my spare time. And that was rather embarrassing when your editor asked you to pitch something and you have basically nothing to pitch. So, lesson in that is always be prepared no matter what. Number 2, ask questions. Ask questions wherever you can. The thing that we all get nervous about as students, especially university students who are going into internships, is that we hate looking stupid. We don't want to look like we don't know what we're doing. We don't want our potential employees to see us as clueless or, not knowing what we're doing. But the truth of the matter is that we don't know what we're doing. We are students and we are there to learn. And so, as long as you pick your moment, you should always ask questions. And it's much better to ask questions about how to do something rather than just assume what you're supposed to do and get it wrong. If the last thing you want to do at a newspaper that's publishing to thousands of people is to get something wrong, either to miss a deadline or to get your structure wrong or to get names and facts wrong. In this line of work, you can't really afford to make mistakes. Obviously, you are a student, so they're going to understand that. That's why you need to ask questions. So, always ask questions wherever you can, And also, what we forget is that asking questions shows that you care about the work that you're doing, and it shows that you're taking initiative to actually do the job that you were asked to do the way you're asked to do it. Number 3, self-sufficiency is really important. Now, obviously, we are allowed to ask questions and as many as possible, but at a certain point, you do have to be self-sufficient and you do have to take initiative. Now, it is up to you when you draw that line. You have to kind of think for yourself. For me, what I really struggled with in the beginning of the internship was learning how to work without somebody supervising me all the time. Most of you will be aware that in Victoria we've been through several lockdowns, so I was in lockdown during the period of my internship. Also, on top of that, I was working for the Canberra Times, which means I couldn't even go to Canberra anyway. I did my internship online. And at first I was kind of, online internships aren't going to be that good, but it actually turned out a lot better than I expected. One of the good parts about working from home is that I had my own space and my own piece of quiet to just do my work. I had to motivate myself to do it. It's a challenge, but it is good practice in the environment that we are working in during the pandemic to be self-sufficient and to be able to work without a supervisor. I did have contact with my supervisor at least once a day in the morning editorial meetings, but most of the time we communicated online and I would ask him questions through a tool called Slack. We had like a team Slack channel and that's where I was able to communicate. But most of the work that I did have to do on my own. I did have to think to myself, what have I been taught in this course so far? And what do I need to put into practice now so that I can do this job? It does require a little bit of self-confidence, something of which a lot of journalism students still are struggling with. But once you build that self-confidence, you realise that you're a lot more capable of achieving the goals that you're meant to achieve. Number 4, pay attention. Obviously, again, this is pretty self-explanatory. You do have to pay attention to what your supervisor is telling you to do. But when you're a journalist, you do have to pay attention to what's happening around you in terms of the news. And this is why we have to be prepared as well for things like pitching story ideas. We need to pay attention to what's happening in the news cycle, so that we can stay on top of it and we're not pitching ideas that are out of date or no longer relevant or have already been done. Another thing that I took the liberty of doing was kind of being a Victorian correspondent. I am someone working for Canberra right now, but I have access to the Victorian environment and I was able to think as a Victorian. So I make sure every day to watch the Victorian press conferences and look out for any changes that might be relevant on a national level. And that way, if anything did come up, I could pass that on to my editor and say, hey, here's a potential story idea. And also I felt like because my interest is in politics, I want to pay attention to what's happening in politics. Depending on what your interests are as a journalist, you need to pay attention to what's happening in your field. That's something that I've noticed is really helpful, even if you don't necessarily get the stories before other journalists. It's still good to have that skill and paying attention. Last but not least, take feedback when it's given. Feedback, I know, can be quite a sensitive spot for some people. A lot of people take feedback as criticism. I personally have a love-hate relationship with feedback because on the one hand, I get very nervous about receiving feedback and what it says about me and what other people think of me. The thing about journalism is that you just have to have a thick skin. Something that my lecturer taught me last semester was that journalists have to have a thick skin in this job, and we do have to take the feedback that's given to us, good or bad, because both sides are equally valuable. One is about boosting your confidence as a journalist, and the other you can learn from. So definitely take the feedback especially feedback that comes from industry professionals that you get to work with. I personally saw it as a huge honor to work with the editors at the Canberra Times, and I'm extremely grateful to them for their mentorship and what they've taught me. We sat down at the end of the 5 days of my internship and we went through how I felt about the internship, and then they told me some of the things that they wanted to pass on as feedback, and that was really helpful for me. One of the things that they liked was the fact that I was self-sufficient and that I was working really hard on my own. But something that I think that they added to me was that I needed to practice my intro. Something that a lot of journalism students will know is that when you're writing an article, you need the most important piece of information at the top and you draw it out. I followed that, I think, pretty well, but something that I learned at the newspaper is that we also have to think about intros that are punchy and interesting and engaging for readers, because part of writing articles is making sure that they are audience friendly and audience engaging, and that was something that I needed to practice for future articles. So that was a really good piece of feedback, and now I can learn from that, and I see that as extremely valuable information to carry on for the rest of my career. So, those are the things that I learned from my internship at the Canberra Times. At the end of my internship, I ended up publishing 3 articles, all of which I will link down below. You can find them on the Canberra Times website. I was also lucky enough to get my first print articles, which is really exciting to have tangible articles in a newspaper. That's kind of a novelty, I think, and a goal that I've had for such a long time. And now that I finally got a published article in a newspaper, I'm feeling incredibly excited and motivated in terms of my career going forward. And I know that a lot of other journalists will know that feeling, so yeah, I'm really proud of myself for that. I hope that these tips have been helpful to you next time you do an internship, whether or not it's a journalism internship or whatever it is you're studying at university. I wish you all the best. Stay safe in lockdown for those of you in Victoria, and hopefully I'll see you in another video. Bye.